Listen.
Well, I start every class off on a high note.
Wow, mocking yourself right out of the gate. Usually the self-deprecation doesn't start until lunch.
Now, I don't know how Netflix gave this a follow-up when all of these have been getting cut short, but look, it's clear that the hate watching for the first one has caused the expansion of the Tall Girl cinematic universe, because second to Money Heist, somehow this had the tallest request pile when it comes to Netflix LMEs. So there's no doubt going to be a Tall Girl prequel, an animated series, a short film with Dunk, and maybe even a meeting with the MPAA, because poor movies aren't even considered movies, but TV specials to Netflix. Like, they have Sierra Burgess streaming on the same platform, and that got a proper PG-13. This one somehow a step down and is a Netflix channel original movie. Personally, I don't think it's the worst thing I've seen on Netflix, because there's a lot to stream on Netflix, but it is one of those that's easy to hate because it thinks it's saying a lot more than it is. So to give it its fair due and review it properly, I rent it out in IMAX to get the full effect, to feel that tall girl ratio and put myself in another person's shoes. That fell off before the mile because they were men's 13s. I'm a cartoon 10s.
You think your life is hard? I'm a high school junior wearing size 13 Nikes. Men's size 13 Nikes. Beat that.
So a tall warning before we get into spoilers, and a big thank you to our video sponsor NordVPN, because yeah, Tall Girl may be so goofy that you kind of want to force your friends to watch it just to get the reactions of the ending, but you could also show them good stuff. And right now it is film festival season, with many still being virtual, and with NordVPN you can stream from all of them no matter where you're at. So even though the upcoming South by Southwest festival is geo-restricted to the States, you can just switch to a quick server and boom, you got access. Say you're tired of the Netflix selections you have, then actually switch to Paris to ignore Emily, and if any videos that you're watching are ever blocked where you're at, one click of a button and bam, they're back. Nord's been going strong for 10 years and continues to boast all the great features, from fast service for all your devices to that beautiful 30-day money-back guarantee, and of course, the ability to stop seeing ads while you're on the internet. So if you're interested, head over to nordvpn.com/letmeexplain and support the channel, all while protecting your online security while you're up in the clouds, so not even the tall girl can get you.
What am I watching?
Let me explain. So we're introduced to the tall girl who's dealing with alienation and acceptance while reading a book about alienation and acceptance, and she's hitting it off with this dude who's ready to ask her out before realizing she's Jodi Abdul-Jabbar, which is kind of bogus because I know this man almost tripped over her feet when he got up, and he still hit her with this face. Jodi's a 6'1" high schooler who's dressed like a lost member of Brockhampton. They got her walking around like a stormtrooper, bending and twisting every which way just to fit in, and her dad in particular thinks every issue she faces is a national security and even tries to put her on hormones, but she just keeps growing. And you realize at a certain point that out of all these students who may be walking the same hallway, they definitely got different views, because in Jodi's perspective, she's so worried about being tall, I guess short people don't even exist in her flashbacks.
Easy for you to say. Okay, nothing rattles you. Plenty of stuff rattles me. I just roll with it. Well, this is how I roll.
We meet her best friend Farida, who's more down to earth, literally. She's full of moxie, but really just uses it to put up with her best friend's hiding shenanigans.
Do you really need validation that badly?
And if you didn't catch it, she is a female and a queen, which you can tell by the shirts that say female and queen, just like their sassy enemy. There's Jodi's older sister Harper, who has an insatiable appetite to become a pageant queen just like their mother was, but they do this really goofy dynamic with Jodi, who feels like she doesn't fit in with her family, when in reality, actual models are just as tall as her, but, Sabrina works it. Then we get Jack in his box. This man goes by the nickname Dunk, and he's been that childhood friend who's been wanting to date Jodi for the longest time, but she requires him to be this tall to go on the ride, and poor guy just gets hit with a fast pass on this love triangle. Now I'm serious when I say that I never caught the first Tall Girl when it came out, but I knew immediately that they were going to have this boy walking around like an overwise employee just to have a goofy third act kiss.
I saw that coming.
Did you?
The first time I saw them mention it, I was like, okay, for sure, he's weird. And then they mentioned it like a second time or a third time, like specifically in the script, and I was like, this is here for a reason.
Before he can deliver it to her doorstep though, a Swedish dude named Stig appears, and poof, there's chemistry. Problems that he solves on the board.
Because to him, you're not a tall girl. To him, you're just another girl.
Really quick, we did have a big debate on this. Is she sitting here or not? Finally, there's Kimmy.
I mean, let's face it, Jodi, you're the tall girl. You'll never be the pretty girl.
She's this movie's mean girl who harasses minimum wage employees, abuses her best friend Liz.
Forever alone.
And is even called by Jodi what her ancestors were probably nicknamed, her original tormentor, since some kids just come out of the womb to cause gloom.
And that's why I want to be just like Taylor Swift when I grow up. Taylor Swift? More like taller Swift.
Y'all sure this ain't TVMA? Kimmy continues to oppress Jodi by flirting with the Swede and becoming his personal ambassador. Meanwhile, Dunk doesn't realize that he's his personal host.
Oh, Stig, buddy, we're just We're gonna have to ship you back, man.
As part of his host family, for the tax credits, Dunk takes Stig around New Orleans to get to know the place a little bit better, as they both connect on the fact that they're the ugly ducklings of their school.
If that's true, then that makes you the me of Sweden.
Yeah?
Man, that's trippy.
Now, at first, Harper is hesitant to help her sister hook up with the new guy, but eventually does dress her up so that Stig can get under her skin.
I'm going to extreme makeover the crap out of you.
Tough job considering she was fitted like Jason Statham in The Mechanic.
I look like Grandma's couch.
Girl, you used to dress like Michael Myers. It ends up being Kimmy's bullying that pushes her further into Stig's arms as they see eye to eye, realize they go hand in hand, and are up in the clouds together. Problem is, Stig is still with Kimmy. Bigger problem is, Stig doesn't care. He ends up calling Jodi over to a house that isn't even his, and eventually trolley along on their first date as they kiss for her first time. And it was over for Jack. Like, the moment a Swede has your girl's legs higher than your height is done. And then to think that the man later proceeds to recap it to Dunk as a bedtime story.
How was it?
Now, the Swede did come in and show some accountability.
I cheated on Kimmy tonight.
But the Swede also counted on his ability to move on to the next girl. And at that point, everyone's relationship is rockier than the movie's writing. But leave it to the tall girl to only confront Dunk because he's upgraded tables and moved on with the Swede.
And I just want to make sure that you don't get hurt.
Now I know she saw that car from a mile away. By this point, Jodi and Stig are sharing wardrobes. They're exchanging foreign feelings. But to keep things TV PG, they never go down low.
High five.
The higher five.
Oh.
Mind you, while Harper is upset Jodi's kissed the Swede, she can't blame a girl for trying. But it's at that moment, when Harper wins Miss Teen Louisiana, the big thing that they're hyping up for her character, that I realized how much of the world revolves around Jodi. Because be it her gravitational pull or privilege, every problem this girl faces is a tall order. Like, she got stood up once, and her dad almost caused a 16-car pileup.
No one stands up. My daughter!
Watch the road!
On top of that, there's a viral video about her where Stig bragged to everyone that he stood her up.
What? Confessing love? Dude, that's like totally lame. Like, I'm definitely not in love with Jodi.
And Dunk surprisingly packed a punch in her honor. The following day, he follows through on that love by creepishly sneaking into Jodi's room and caressing her hair, now that he can reach it, but then gets karate chopped.
Oh my god!
Now listen, I'm Team Liz for Jack all the way. They're both gluten-free, she's already making killer recipes, there's no crate required, but Dunk is also a goofball. Like, he really told Liz that he'll wait forever for Jodi, after kissing Liz in front of Jodi. He then goes out of his way to get Jodi these special high heels that are specifically in her size, even though she just had a whole shopping spree in her size, but these were special shoes that help her overcome the PTSD she suffered in her turbulent past, to the point that all of her anxiety goes away.
You sure? Me too. We're sure.
In the third act, this girl really hijacks her own homecoming and struts onto that stage like she's gonna snatch her own sister's crown, and then forces everyone to hear her speak. Like, that's such a tall girl thing to do.
We're all good enough, and once we realize this, no one can take it away. So go.
You know what was pretty funny was when Sabrina bent and sniped herself away from Kimmy when she won. It was decent. With the confidence of 1,000 tall girls, Jodi leaves the party that she literally just crashed and goes back home to have a pre-box talk.
The last scene in the first script, he got on the crate and went to kiss me, and we kissed, and then the crate broke. And so we'd have to and he actually jumped through it and broke it. It was so much fun. So we had probably 10 crates on the side for that one.
So after friend zoning him the entire movie, she decides to revise her terms and conditions and tells him to keep his hands and feet inside the milk crate at all times. Now, besides it being a goofy story, it's even goofier how it's told. The editing is crazy right from the beginning, because there'll be scenes, right, where they're walking to the back of the classroom and they'll give them time, and then no lie, she just transports back. I know 3 steps is a travel, but she's soaring. On top of that, the framing. There are shots where you can literally fit a whole tall girl in there.
If you notice, there's a lot of interesting shots. It's because we were there for hours on end getting those interesting shots.
I know cinematography can get really nerdy, but it's fundamentally bad when the movie that's called Tall Girl isn't even shot in a tall ratio. They went wide for this. At least the sequel fixes that. But in the end, there's nothing wrong with making a movie that's venting out your grievances. if you're also not the one causing them. But while it's not for me, I can at least say that it was a cathartic experience for the tall.
Did you go to high school?
I didn't go to high school.
Ah!
So I'm like, tall girl has been my high school experience.
Are you size 13 men's?
No, I am not.
Okay,
That would be terrible. I mean, I don't know. That would be very difficult. I'm only a size 10, so my feet are actually kind of small.
Men's or women's?
Women's.
I'm not actually Swedish.
Really?
I'm a sister. I'm a best friend. I'm smart. I'm fun. And
I'm a Netflix original series.